right. We are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to what we're going to call this, the Foatecast. Why is it called the Foatecast? Well, it's because there's two Foats on this goddamn cast. Since this is the first time we're going to be doing this, why don't you introduce yourself, fellow guest? Who are you?
It might be the last time. Let's see. First and last. I am Mr. Lucky.
This is Mr. Lucky. This is the founding father of this quad, the quad we call Foats. The person that got me all messed up into the football universe. When did you make me start watching football? When was it? Like when I was 8?
Well, we can say 2.
2 years old. Okay.
You came out of the womb with the Michigan uniform on.
Oh, okay. This is the guy that would drag me to sports bars when I was like 7, and I would sit there with my computer and watch football games all day. So my the reason I watch football is because of this guy. So the discussions here are going to be pretty interesting, I'll say the least. We have two different ideologies in the way football is played, so we're going to have a fun, packed conversation for today. I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to go from college football to the NFL. And I picked a few games for college football based on when they're played and just, I guess, difficulty of game. I don't know. Just what everyone would actually want to listen to. So, I mean, so we're going to start off with South Alabama at Appalachian State. Let me actually pull up some cool notes that I actually found. We have this game today because it's the only Thursday night game. South Alabama comes off a win. I believe that's Northwestern State. It's a FCS school. They beat the living hell out of them, and they ended up losing to Ohio pretty close and North Texas pretty close. These are two pretty, teams. Ohio's not as great as they were last year. North Texas is, I would consider, pass heavy still. So, some fun facts about South Bama. Their passing yardage is pretty damn high. Gio Lopez, as a freshman, is leading this team in 16th in passing yardage. But the problem is their defense kind of allows too much. I think they're allowing about 26 points a game, or 31 points a game, sorry. Whereas Appalachian State's not any better. They're pretty much allowing 29 a game. So there's a reason this over-under is pretty high. What I'm seeing in this matchup, the quarterbacks are going to go heavy. The offenses in general are going to go heavy. So this is actually going to be an interesting game. The spread is 7.5. I don't even know if my dad knows what these numbers mean, so I'll explain it for everybody. The numbers below the teams you're going to see is what we consider the spread, and that kind of gauges what people think are going to win, who are going to lose. So plus 7.5 means South Bama is projected to lose by just a little over a touchdown. So, what's that?
You really just added incredible.
I don't know if you've ever bet before. I don't know. And then the over-under 64.5. I mean, I'm sure you know what that means. That's just how much we think the total of the game's going to be, the over-under. So, Appalachian State, I mean, they just beat up on East Carolina, not Eastern. They did get their asses beat by Clemson, and they ended up beating another FCS team. So, I mean, these two teams are kind of even, in my opinion. Do you have any opinions on this?
Yeah, my opinion is that App is at home Thursday night. They're probably the better team. They're obviously going to probably score a lot of points. They're probably going to make covers. That's my opinion.
Good opinion, yeah. I pretty much agree. I mean, we have Gio as a freshman at South Alabama. He's been honestly doing pretty damn good. The problem is South Alabama hasn't really played any good foes. At least Appalachian State's went up against Clemson. I think just the offense on App State's just a little better. I mean, this game could be a 40-40 type game. It's just going to be I could see it being an offensive shootout. If anyone wants to even bet on this, I would literally take the over on this. If it gets a little too high, I wouldn't. But, I mean, 64.5 is already pretty high, so I don't know if you want to take it if it gets a little higher. I'm sure the points have moved a little bit, but Joey should have a good day. The guy's been doing pretty damn good. The defense is meh. I don't know, but this is going to be an interesting game. It's going to be an enjoyable game for people who like to watch college football. If you don't like watching these type of teams, you're probably just going to sit there bored. But nevertheless, this could be a pretty interesting game. Do you have any final comments, concerns?
I'm not a big fan of either one of those teams. That's your game. So I'll let you roll with it.
Cool. All right, so we move on to the next game, a much more exciting game. It is the only Friday game I selected here. We got Illinois versus Nebraska. I know Mr. Lucky knows these two teams. Mr. Lucky, what have your thoughts been on these two teams this season?
Very impressed with both of them. And actually, you brought up the Nebraska one on me. I really didn't think much of Nebraska until you brought up the guy, and I'm actually impressed with him. As a freshman, he's kind of killing it. And Nebraska all together is playing up thing. I don't know the stats if you don't really follow all that, but I did watch a couple of their games, and I think this is going to be a battle. I mean, they got Nebraska red a little bit favored, not heavy. I think that's just because they're at home. But they're both, Illinois is no slouch. So I think it's going to be a battle.
Yeah, I agree with you. Illinois playing at Nebraska. I'm a little scared for Illinois. I think they've played two teams that haven't really been too helpful for like competition wise to get them ready for the Big Ten. Kansas was a good win. I'll give them that. I mean, Kansas isn't the Kansas we thought they'd be, but Illinois is getting it together. They have some good playmakers. Pat Bryant's been pretty good for Luke. Nebraska side of things, I mean, if you just look at their opponents, they're literally, I mean, if I had to average the three teams score-wise, it's probably about, 5 points a game right now. They're literally suppressing these three teams. And, I mean, God, Dylan's a freshman, and he's doing pretty damn good. So, I mean, Dylan's probably, in my opinion, leading the way for freshman of the year. So, Nebraska's looking pretty good. The spread right now is 8.5. If I'm betting, I'm probably taking the Nebraska spread. I could see Nebraska winning by 2 touchdowns, but the over-under 43.5. I don't know if this is going to be a shootout or not. I mean, both of these defenses are playing pretty decently. I would just be impressed to see Illinois have some more offensive power against Nebraska, because either we're going to see Dylan, who's been doing pretty damn good, or we're going to see Dylan, who's going to struggle a little bit against some Big Ten action. I think that's really where I'm at with this game. I personally think Nebraska will pull out this one. Who do you think's going to pull this one out?
I think Nebraska wins, covered. I don't think they cover.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to be a deep game. I think it might be an under. I think it's going to be closer.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to the next one then. So we got Florida at Mississippi State. This one is going to be a mad game. It's a Florida team who is struggling to find their identity, and a Mississippi State team who's kind of getting their thing together, but just not figuring it out very well. Because if you take a look at the last few opponents these teams have played, I mean, A&M pretty much pooped on Florida. They pooped on Samford, but then they got pooped on by Miami to start the season, whereas Mississippi State just got shit on back-to-back and then beat up on an FCS team. So, I mean, we really don't have a lot to look at for these two teams. Florida's quarterback situations in a turmoil. Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway just keep getting flipped back and forth. They don't really have an identity there yet. I'm hoping Mertz figures it out here because I'd like to see Mertz do well in his last season here, but it's not looking likely. And Mississippi State, well, I'll let the cards fall where they are. They're not doing that well. They're going to have a tough time in the SEC, but Florida is as well. Do you have any opinion on these two teams by chance?
I'll tell you my opinion. I'm not an SEC fan, you know that. So, but I do like the Gators. Mississippi State is Mississippi State. I got your back on the Gators. They're definitely they're gonna it's a get right game. They'll be all right. They're gonna win the game. To cover that spread. Don't know over and under. I don't. That's a lot of points. But if they're gonna win it, they're gonna get it right.
Right.
This is an ugly game, but Florida's the better team, the better name, and they just got it.
No, I agree. This is definitely an ugly game. This is definitely not one that everyone and their mom's going to be spectating on. The reason why this is an interesting game is, well, the early slate of this week is not very impressive. And, I mean, out of all the games, at least this is an SEC matchup, and at least it's going to be competitive. It might not be fun to watch, but at least they're going to be competitive in this game.
Dr. Florida. I mean, I know it's at Mississippi. Like, anything happens at home. Home games are a big advantage in college, but I'd be shocked if Florida.
I'm going to lock in Florida too. I know there's a Florida banner behind me, but I am saying this unbiasedly. I don't think Mississippi State has what they need yet to really control Florida. Even though Florida hasn't really shown too much, I think they're just a little more better prepared for a Mississippi State team. And with that, I pick Florida. We'll move on to a fun game. I feel like could be an either-or type game for two teams that have at least played some interesting matchups. We got Virginia with a quarterback who I was really excited about last year, Anthony. He is starting off the season he just lost to Maryland, but they came back and beat Wake Forest, and they beat Richmond, an FCS team, whereas Coastal Carolina is crazily 3-0. I did not expect this from them. They beat up Jacksonville State, who I thought Jacksonville State would beat Coastal Carolina. They beat Williams and Mary, and then they beat Temple, who I knew they'd at least win those two games. So Ethan Vasco, he's been doing pretty damn good for Coastal Carolina. I see that the spread right now is minus +3, and the over/under is 54.5. So, from what I'm gathering, this could be a shootout. It really depends if Anthony gets it going. I mean, he has the playmakers to do it against Coastal Carolina. I mean, when you just first look at it and not even know who these teams are, you're gonna just assume ACC is gonna triumph over the Sun Belt team. And I think that's pretty accurate with this game. I don't think Coastal Carolina played the best opponents to really have a chance to stop on Virginia. I'm sure they, before the season even started, thought Virginia was not going to be this good. I don't think anyone really did, but they're doing pretty decent right now. And I expected Virginia to be 1-2 by now. I didn't expect Wake Forest to lose to them right then like they did, but I don't know. I think Virginia could go 3-1 here. What do you think?
I am not familiar. I mean, I know Virginia, Coastal Carolina. I'm not real familiar with their team. I haven't seen any of their games. I did. I think I did catch a little bit of loss to. Yeah. I like Virginia. Yes. Again, it's at. Is it? It's at Carolina. At Coastal.
Yeah.
So could help them. It's a tight spread. It's probably equally maintained. I think Virginia just might have an edge just because it's Virginia. Uh, they're not normally a power outfit. You know what? I don't know. Maybe Costa has something to. Let's go with Costa.
All right, so we got one Virginia and this one Coastal. It could very well happen. Coastal's on a pretty hot streak right now, so
Heck, they're at home and they're playing well and get the edge.
so
I don't
here's
know.
another game that we got. We got a 11th ranked USC versus an 18th ranked Michigan. Um, I I mean, I have a lot of opinions on this, but to keep it unbiasedly, the spread's at minus plus 5.5. The over-under is at 46.5. So we are expecting a defensive-ish type game here. Miller Moss is doing pretty damn good with his offensive unit, whereas Michigan is really just relying on the running attack at the moment. They have not figured out who their quarterback is. There is a reason I don't have Davis Warren here, because Alex Orji was claimed to be the quarterback number one here. USC has came back to beat LSU in their first game and shut out Utah State, whereas Michigan got buried by Texas and kept up on Arkansas State and Fresno State. Not the type of game we usually see at the Big House. Do you have any opinions on this game?
As Michigan being my favorite team of all time, I was excited that they finally got the championship game and thought that they were going to be a little bit better than they are this year. Very biased on the team. I mean, Michigan's still Michigan, and you still got to play in the big house. You still got to show up. USC is playing well. But they don't have the same players they had last year, as well as Michigan don't have the same players they had last year. So this game could go either way. I feel if Michigan puts the right people in the right positions, they can win this game. But unfortunately, I think USC has the edge here. But coaching it's going to come down to coaching, and Michigan's got to put the right players in the right position, and they could actually win this if they do the right things. And you don't want to talk about they got to have the right quarterback in, they got to do the right things, and ball control this game, and they can win this game.
Right. Yeah, so I'm unfortunately thinking USC is going to win this game at the moment. I don't think Michigan's going to have this figured out to beat USC. I think USC is going to be a playoff team this year, just seeing what the hell they've been up to this season. I mean, this is Michigan and USC's first Big Ten matchup of the season, so I'm praying Michigan wins, but I'm not really. I was a believer that they would beat USC before they went to Texas, and once they lost to Texas, I lost some faith in this game. So I'm going to be at this game. It's going to be an interesting one, but I think USC has the leg up here on the away.
Yeah, after the first three games, I'm going to have to, unfortunately, have to stick to this. I'm not going to pick it this game because I can't pick against my Michigan team, so I'm not going to agree with you. I think USC has the upper hand. Let's put it that way.
Alrighty.
But I won't pick against them.
So we have another pretty fun matchup here: Utah versus Oklahoma State. The spread here is -+2, and the over/under is 52.5. The biggest fact here is Cam Rising is not officially out, so he could potentially play, or Isaac Wilson could play, which Isaac Wilson did pretty damn good for Utah. So Utah will at least have someone under center that can move the ball. The only thing I don't really like is the fact that Utah State actually ended up putting 21 on Utah with Isaac Wilson. That makes me think Oklahoma State might actually have a shot here. When we look at the last opponents, they swept Southern Utah. They beat Baylor pretty decently. And, I mean, they beat up Utah State pretty decently, too. I'm just surprised they kept that closer than it should have been. And then Oklahoma State, I mean, Alan Bowman is actually surprising the hell out of me. Fun fact, he used to be a Michigan quarterback. He also used to be a Texas Tech quarterback. But he finally found his home at Oklahoma State. And Ollie Gordon's doing Ollie Gordon stuff over there. So Oklahoma State's looking pretty good. Their defense isn't as spectacular as I thought. I mean, they almost lost to Arkansas State. So there's some vulnerabilities there. But this game could be pretty damn good, especially if Isaac Wilson starts here. What's your thoughts on this one, by chance, if you have any?
No, I agree with you on that one. This game's going to be exciting as hell. It's going to be the funnest game to watch. Was Bowman on that team, Glenn?
No, Alex. Oh, no, yeah, no. He was here last year. He was the starter last year, yep.
Yeah, I thought I watched this. I mean, these teams, I think this team will go back and forth. This will be one of these exciting games to watch. This might be one of the most exciting games. Is this a night game or afternoon?
I believe this is a 3:30 game.
Yeah, this will be an exciting game. Actually, and I hope Ryzen was playing too. He's actually exciting player to watch. So this could be like a shootout ball. I definitely would say that the over is probably going to happen. And it could be literally a back and forth. It could be probably 1-2 point game. And I kind of lean towards OSU on this one. If just because that Gordon was Ollie.
Right.
And yeah, I like this. I think both these teams can put up some serious points. And I like Utah. I like Oklahoma State. I like Oklahoma. This would be an exciting game. Yeah, I'll go for OSU.
Yeah, I personally actually think Oklahoma State could win this, especially if Cam Rising isn't playing. Utah just, I don't know if I feel like they're overhyped or if I think that Utah State, or not Utah State, but if the Utah Utes, in my opinion, I don't know if they can beat on Oklahoma State. I think that team's defense is going to be able to suppress them enough for their offense to do enough, if that makes sense. I see the spread happening for Oklahoma State because I think they'll win. I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd probably put it on the money line. But I definitely see Oklahoma State being able to do something here. I was not a believer in Bowman, though, until last game when he started tossing dimes on Tulsa. But again, it is Tulsa, so I mean, I feel like we'll see. We're gonna see more from both these teams because this is a Big 12 matchup, and they haven't really played anyone spectacular yet. So I'm leaning on Oklahoma State here for sure.
Yeah, that's a point they're putting up. Regardless of what people they're playing, they're gonna score.
And we'll move on to another exciting game. Right after the Utah and Oklahoma State game, we got another pretty cool game to watch. Tennessee versus Oklahoma. Both these teams are also 3-0. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Tennessee is blowing teams up right now, and I think they're gonna do pretty good against Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a starting sophomore who is doing pretty decent, and Tennessee has a freshman that's blowing it up with a pretty damn good running back right now, Dylan Sampson. And I mean, I know they played Kent State and Chattanooga, but they played NC State. NC State was ranked in that game, and they basically murdered NC State. Whereas Oklahoma barely beat Houston, which I do not think Houston's that great of a team. And the Oklahoma also had some troubles with Tulane. So, I mean, Tennessee, if the freshman Nico doesn't really get his you-know-what together here, Oklahoma could get close in this game, but I want to hear your thoughts on this game before I give my official opinion.
You know what? I haven't really watched Tennessee just because you're right. I mean, they're just killing everyone, so it's not even exciting to watch them. So it'll be interesting to see them play a team with a name. I'm no boy, but I kind of agree with you a little bit. And Tennessee is just annihilating people. I mean, they're just so. I don't. This Dylan guy is just killing him. I mean, he's tearing it up. It's kind of scary. He's running the hell out of the ball. So that makes this guy, this freshman quarterback, looking awesome too, right? So I would have to towards Tennessee hard on this one. You know, Oklahoma's a big name and a big team. They used to play hard. The way Tennessee's playing too well. I don't know if Oklahoma's going to be able to hang with them. Even though it's in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I know how college football works. These home games are way more favorable than people think. I mean, the spread's being not too generous here. I definitely think Oklahoma can stay within a touchdown. I think it'll be within at least 10. I think Tennessee will still go to Oklahoma and win, but if this was the other way around, I could see Tennessee winning by like 3 touchdowns personally. Yeah, if it was at Tennessee, because this is at Oklahoma.
No, that makes a big difference. Yeah. Look at Kentucky last week.
Yeah, it's just a thing. College football. When you go to these stadiums, I mean, the kids show up, the students and their alumni show up. I mean, some stadiums are deadly. You go into them and the quarterback can't even think.
Randall, this is a freshman quarterback, right?
Yeah, so he could get nervous in this game. It could be something.
We've seen it happen. We've seen numbers 16 like this. It's been hot, shut down, but we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah. So who are you taking on this one?
I'm gonna roll with Tennessee.
All right, I am too. That was my pick.
Is this a night game?
I think that was like a 5 or something. It wasn't a night game like this is. Which this is our final college football preview game. We got Michigan State at Boston College. There's not a lot of exciting night games today or this weekend.
Exciting this weekend in general. Those were it right there.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're still getting to the point where they're doing conference-only matches. I mean, as you can see here, this is a Big Ten versus the ACC. So, which I mean, this could be an interesting game for either team. That's why I kind of picked this one. I mean, MSU's been. I thought they'd be 1-2 right now, but they're 3-0. So that makes me start to think differently. Michigan State, at least, is competitive. Whereas Boston College, nobody expected them to stay within Missouri or beat the piss out of FSU. So, I mean, these two teams this could be a fun game for a casual fan as well. I mean, do you have any first impressions or thoughts on these two teams?
Well, after watching Michigan State's first game, I thought they were gonna suck ass, but they snuck it out, and then they got a little better. You know, they started playing a little harder. Maryland, they played very well again. So it was like a shock. Again, college impressed me a little bit when they beat Florida State until Florida State became a dud. Um, but but then they continued, and then last week I actually thought Boston College should have won that game against Missouri, but they kind of failed at the end. So you're right. I think it's going to be. I think it'll be battleable. I'm going to take Boston at home. I think they outlast. This one.
Yeah, I do not think MSU is gonna win this one. Thomas Castellanos has been doing really good. Like I was a big fan of this guy last year, and the fact that he popped off against FSU and he popped off with Missouri too. So I'm really excited to watch him play in this Boston College game. He has the team surrounding him to do well. Aiden Childs is not good. He's doing pretty damn good with what he's got at MSU. The problem is he's kind of pass heavy and gets a few picks where he shouldn't. But I mean, his running back's been pretty good for them. So, I mean, if MSU got hot and they figured it out, the Boston College defense out, I could see it being close. But I don't think Thomas is gonna let BC lose this game. I see them winning this game for sure. And that concludes our first start of coverage. Our second grouping here is going to be a interesting one. I felt like it'd be fun to get a few games and we quickly run through them. So let's see if I can pull this up real quick. There we go. So we're gonna have 12 games here. We're literally just gonna pick who we think's gonna win here. Unless you have actual thoughts on some of these games, I probably won't go in depth on any of them. But our first game here is Houston at Cincinnati. Again, there's not a lot of amazing games this week, so bear with us. Houston at Cincinnati. I think Houston will beat Cincinnati at home. What do you think?
Houston, Cincinnati. Houston's at home, you said?
Nope. Houston is at Cincinnati.
I'll do Cincinnati.
All right, we got Kansas at West Virginia. Kansas is 1-2. West Virginia is 2-1. The spread is plus 2.5 Kansas. So West Virginia is favored here. I am taking West Virginia at home. Kansas is not looking great.
Yeah, I was going to go West Virginia also. I was looking at that earlier because I thought I was shocked that Kansas is playing so bad. I thought they were going to be better.
I agree.
They're just playing good at home.
We got Georgia Tech at Louisville, who is 19th in the nation. Georgia Tech is also the team that has beaten FSU that shocked the world with the first game of the season. They're 3-1, but they are a plus 10.5, whereas Louisville is 2-0, minus 10.5. I absolutely think Louisville wins, but I think it's going to be closer than people think.
Yeah, that's a tight one. Is this a night game?
No, these are all. I'm not gonna lie. I do not know the times on these games. I know these are not night games.
I want to go with. I'm gonna go with Louisville. I would say Georgia Tech would be better. That's how cold that thing is.
Wow. All right. We got Rutgers at Virginia Tech. Rutgers is 2-0. Virginia Tech is 2-1. Virginia Tech is favored 3.5 spread. I'm going to sound crazy, but I think Rutgers wins at Virginia Tech. What do you think?
I'm gonna stick with my Big Ten too. I'm gonna stick back.
All right.
I was, yeah, I was gonna give them just because they play hard, man. Let's see what happens.
So we got Arizona State at Texas Tech. These are all like 3:30 games, I believe. Arizona and Texas Tech might be the only 12. I do not remember. But Arizona State is 3-0 at Texas Tech, who is 2-1. The spread favors Texas Tech at -3. I actually am excited for this game, but I think Texas Tech pulls it out and finally someone will beat ASU.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of either one of these teams. But I'm not really sure. I'll go with the home team.
That's fair. We got TCU at SMU. God, that was a tongue twister. We got both teams 2-1, and the spread favors the away team here, TCU -3. I only favor TCU here because I don't understand what's going on with the quarterback situation at SMU. So I will take Hoover at TCU to win this one.
I'll take SMU.
Okay, so he's fading me. I see you. We got California at FSU. I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but Cal is 3-0 and FSU is 0-3, and the spread is still favoring FSU -2. I am going to say I think FSU is finally going to win their first game.
I'm with you, man. They gotta win one right here, right? Or they're gonna be. I think they're gonna cancel the program if they don't win it.
I think Cal's a good Cal team, funny enough. It's just I really think FSU's got to win a game, and this is
walking into a bad situation. FSU's got to play hard, right?
if FSU doesn't win this, I don't know what game they win this season. I'm just gonna say that.
Right, they might not win one.
And then you got Toledo at Western Kentucky. Toledo came off a incredible win this past weekend. They literally, I think they beat the piss out of, I think it was Mississippi State. I don't remember, but
Yeah.
Toledo 3-0, Western Kentucky 2-1. The spread actually favors Toledo, the MAC school, 2.5. I'm gonna stick with Toledo. I think they keep this going. I think Toledo wins.
I'm gonna kind of agree with you just because I looked at all their game. They look like they're playing really well ball. They're playing team ball right now. I hate. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Toledo, but I hate on the road stuff. You know, those are the ones that get you.
And then we got our last slate, the night games. We got Iowa at Minnesota, 2-1 both teams. The spread is favoring Iowa on the road. I am going to take the road team here. I am taking Iowa. I think Minnesota still is figuring out their offense, and that's not good when you play a defense like Iowa.
I agree. I think I was probably too good for.
We got Baylor at Colorado, both 2-1. This is a very tight game with the Bucks. They are barely favoring Colorado, -1.5. I think Colorado wins this, and if they don't, they're gonna have a struggling season because Baylor's not amazing. So
I'll go Colorado there.
you say it a little louder. I think everyone will love to hear what you just said.
That's a Deion Sanders, right?
So we got Purdue at Oregon State, 1-1 Purdue. I think they just had a bye, and they're playing Oregon State, who's 2-1. The spread is favoring Oregon State. I give the love to Oregon State. I don't think either of these teams are great, but I think Oregon State will beat our Big Ten Purdue team.
Are we taking the spreads on you?
No, we're just picking who we think wins. If you think something, though, you can obviously say whatever you want.
I'm going. Yeah, you're right. You're close to stuff. I want to take. I'm going to take Dude, but they got their ass kicked so bad. You got to play us hard, and they may go in there. They got to win.
That's fair. I mean, Hudson Card at Purdue is not bad. He's pretty good. He came from Texas University, so I mean, Purdue.
I mean, they got beat down bad last week. It was embarrassing.
And then our last game in our fast frenzy is Kansas State at BYU. Kansas State is ranked. They're both 3-0, and the spread is favoring Kansas State minus 6.5. I think this is going to be an extremely close game, but I think Kansas State takes it.
Yeah, Kansas State's actually playing pretty good. I mean, I don't know much about BYU. I know obviously the experience, but spread's still 6.5, and BYU's at home. I think Kansas State's playing good ball. I'll roll with State.
All right, KSU it is. So, as we load up our last segment here, we're going to take a short break. Someone here has to use the bathroom. That should give you some time to pull up what you have to. And we'll dive into the NFL coverage here real quick here soon. All right. Oh, he's not back. Oops.
Back?
Yeah, I'm back. Ugh. You hear me?
Football games.
What's that?
Okay. These are the football games.
Yep, so now we're moving on to the NFL games. We got September 19th, Thursday, we have the Patriots at the Jets. Boy, oh boy, have the Patriots been interesting this season. What's your initial thoughts on this Thursday night game?
I think the Jets are in trouble. I think the defense is under par. They're not the same defense of the last 2 or 3 years that they had. So now they're hoping that their offense is better than their defense, or the defense has always been better than their offense. And unfortunately, it's not happening right now. I think later in the year it's going to get better. The offense is going to start clicking quicker. But Rodgers got to knock up. The Patriots defense is playing well. Their offense is probably overperforming right now. So this could be a close game. Um, but those are my thoughts on that. I actually think the Jets probably win this game.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. I don't think the Patriots get this one out. I mean, I'm surprised by the Patriots. I did not expect Jacoby Brissett to really move this team like they've been moving. I mean, I expect them to be the worst team in the NFL, so they're already doing way more than I thought. The Jets also, the offense has been lacking. I wonder if it's on Rodgers or I wonder if it's on that O-line. I'm gonna assume it's on both, but I mean, maybe Rodgers' age is catching up to him. I don't know.
Why not? I mean, their running backs are running. I mean, Hall's doing okay. The Allen guy's got okay. I think he's just. My opinion is I think they just got to gel. They ain't gelling yet. I think he's just got to get in the rhythm. I think the offense will start clicking. I think their defense is horrible. They just lost the line. I mean, they're not as good as they. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think this is gonna be an ugly game. If I'm just being honest, I mean, I'm not excited to watch it. It's Thursday night football though for you, so they love to throw these type of games on for us. But I do think Jets take this out in an ugly fashion.
And in my opinion, Thursday games just you don't see very many get Thursday.
All right.
So, yep, I would go.
Yeah, I was making sure we're good with this one. I think we agree. All right, so we got next slide is all our Sunday 1 p.m. games. We'll start from the top left, move our way down, and then move to our other side and move down there. So we'll start with the Giants at the Browns. The Giants are 0-2, and the Browns are 1-1. My initial thoughts here, I'm not very shocked that these teams aren't doing great. I also think the Giants are one of the worst teams in the NFL, and at least they're proving it to me. Mostly because I think Daniel Jones is the worst starting quarterback right now, and they just signed him to a crazy contract, whereas the Browns also have a problem with their quarterback, and they just have an amazing defense. I mean, if we're going just strictly off what we've seen, the Browns should tackle the hell out of this Giants offense. What are your thoughts in this game?
I agree with you. I don't care for either one. I'm not a Watson fan. I'm not a Daniel Jones fan. I know they're trying to make. I feel bad for the rookie playing for the Giants because the neighbors trying to make him a superstar over there, and they're getting on the ball. But I think what's going to end up happening is then probably going to end up getting hurt because they're trying to force the ball in the or Singletary, you know, he can get his best kick over every time. But yeah, I think the Browns, unfortunately, have just because their defense is better. I think by default they're probably going to win. Their offense is not that great, so with lots of
yeah, I mean, yeah, every dog finds his bone. I feel like Daniel Jones will figure out certain games. I just think his errors are gonna be too much for a defense like the Browns. I see Daniel Jones winning certain games. I do not see him winning this certain game though. I mean, are the Giants' defense decent? I mean, they could at least hold the Browns, I would assume, a little bit here.
Yeah. It's funny because you never know. I mean, you see Monday night, Philly was going to beat up on Atlanta, and Atlanta wins. You know, I mean, yeah, obviously that's why people that gamble lose. Some people win. But, so, Let me tell you a quick story. We were in a Survivor League, and there's 15 people in it, and it's already over in
Oh,
2 weeks. That's how bad the picks were. The first week, 7 out of the 15 people picked Cincinnati, and we're out. Last week, 5 people picked Baltimore,
oh my God.
and one person picks uh, the Chargers,
That's funny.
and everyone was out, and the Chargers was home. The whole thing ended in 2 weeks because the two teams that should have won lost.
And I just realized I have the Chargers reversed. They are not 0-2. I'm pretty sure they're 2-0 actually. So error on my end. But
Steelers at 0-2 too. They're not 0-2.
yeah, I think I totally forgot to do their records. But it's all right. The Packers versus or are at Tennessee. So I mean, my initial thoughts on the Packers at Tennessee. I mean, theoretically, Tennessee should lose this to the Packers, but to be honest, if Malik Willis is starting, I'm gonna give the home team this win. I think Will Levis has something possibly there. I think he throws games personally. I mean, he literally threw it to the other team for the Bears game. They should have won that game by at least a touchdown, but he threw a pick six, tried to throw it away and threw a pick. I mean, the dude just, I don't know what the hell happened. I wasn't watching it. I was at a tailgate, but the Packers, I mean, they're good, so they should win this game, but I'm taking Titans just to see a Packers downfall game here.
So I agree with you a little bit. I actually like Will Levis. I think he's his own enemy right now. I think he just makes dumb mistakes. But he did it last week where he did a backwards pass for no reason because he's trying to make a play. So I think his coach needs to tell him to stop trying to make plays. Just take what he can get. The Packers, I did hear love practice. I don't think he's going to play. 'Cause I don't think they're going to risk it. So I can maybe see Tennessee up on the winners. I think Tennessee has the talent. So I think Tennessee wins this one.
All right. We move on to Chicago at the Colts. I'm just gonna be a Bears hater here and pick the Colts. I mean, I think the Colts could actually be good if Anthony Richardson just figures it out. I mean, I'm not blaming it all on Anthony Richardson. I love the guy. He's a Gator, go Gators. But I think he's been struggling these games, and I don't think the Colts are a 0-2 team. It just seems weird to see them at 0 wins right now. Whereas I think the Bears are still trying to figure out their offensive identity. I feel like this is a step up game for the Colts, especially at home. They gotta win this.
I feel like you're on the right track, but I feel like it's also going to be an ugly game. Chicago's defense is good. I mean, I told you before, I was watching it. That team flies around, man. They do weird things, they get turnovers. But Indy isn't, you're right. I think they're a better team. They haven't got Pittman in the ball at all. They have no idea why. And this is a top receiver. They got a great running back over and they got other receivers. Richardson isn't a bad quarterback. So why ain't they doing more? They're at home. I can see them winning this game, but I think it's going to be ugly. And Chicago, you're right. They should have a better offense. I don't think they have an offensive line.
I can agree there. Yeah.
Here. So I can see Colts.
All right. So then we move on to the Texans at Vikings. I mean, I have the records wrong there too. The Vikings are 1-1. I actually don't know what the Texans are. I think the Texans might be 2-0 actually. I also made this slide at like 11 at night, so bear with me, people. But Texans at Vikings. I can only imagine what you're gonna think on this game, but I mean, I think Texans win on the away. I love the Texans right now. I think they're really goddamn good. I literally am calling for them to win the Super Bowl this year, but maybe I'm overhyping the Texans a little too much. But I mean, I think that team's just really goddamn good. What are your thoughts?
I'm on the hype train with you, my man. I hate the hype. I don't want to hype them up too much. But I like everything about them. I like the defense flying around, the offense is flying around. They got players, they got pieces. I'm not happy they're not using Schultz now.
I just dropped Schultz in one of my leagues.
Because they're not using them. But Minnesota's impressive with their defense. I was just watching some film they're showing on ESPN where they're real impressive on what they're doing. And so that I think it's Brian Flowers. The guy is doing some crazy shit. Okay? So, and it's for real. So their defense gonna confuse Houston a little bit, which is gonna be interesting. But I don't like Minnesota offense. And if Jefferson's hurt, that gives them, and Addison's still hurt, and they don't have much of an offense left. and you're looking at Sam Darnold. Unfortunately, as much as I love my Minnesota Vikings, I'm gonna have to lean toward Houston.
All right, so we're moving on to the Eagles at the Saints. I think I was high as hell because the Saints are also 2-0. Eagles at Saints. I think the Eagles are going to win that one. I think the Saints are on a high, and every time my team is on their high, they get knocked off their high horse. And I think the Eagles Eagles are a good team. I mean, they're not as good as everyone thinks they are from their past. I mean, I also don't think the Saints are as good as they're playing. This could be a very big fade game off of how I'm speaking, just because I think both these teams are playing differently than I imagined. But I think Eagles win this one.
And it's funny because it's exactly what the NFL does to us, right? I mean, I kind of agree with you because the Saints are playing high as hell, and I don't know if Philadelphia. I feel like they're in this limbo. I don't know what Philadelphia is. I mean, I like where they're at. Saints defense is playing better than they are. I remember at the beginning of the year, you and I talked about it, and we said we thought that division was going to be the worst division in football. And we were arguing. I said I think Atlanta's the best team in that division, and I think you said Tampa was or something. I forget who you were talking. I think you said Tampa. And then all of a sudden you got Tampa looks decent, Saints looks decent, Atlanta. You know what I mean? That division looks pretty decent. And then I think Saints win that game. I think Philadelphia still don't know who they are yet. So I'm gonna go with the Saints. I think they got everything clicking right now. So
That's fair. All right. God, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's speed this up. I'm getting tired. All right. We've already been live for an hour. That means we put too much into this one.
We're gonna add fantasy.
Not on this. Um, we're probably gonna end up splitting college football and NFL for the future. I think that's in my mind.
Don't speak.
Uh,
Chargers. Rolls. I know.
Chargers, Steelers. I think the Steelers win this game.
Taking Chargers.
Denver versus the Bucks. God, that's an interesting one. I just picked Bucks because I think they're doing pretty damn good right now.
I'm going Bucks because Denver don't have a quarterback.
Poor Bo Nix. We
I
got
like them.
the atrocious Panthers versus the Raiders. I'm taking Panthers because Andy Dalton's starting.
Ah! Raiders at home.
Ooh. We got the Dolphins versus the Seahawks. I'm taking. Taking Seahawks.
Yeah, Seahawks, the Dolphins.
We got Ravens versus the Cowboys.
That's actually a good one. They also got railed, and Ravens are 0-2.
I think I take the Cowboys.
I don't know. I'm gonna get Baltimore needs this again more than Dallas. I'm gonna go Baltimore.
We got San Fran at the Rams. Oh boy. I think 49ers do because the Rams don't. I don't know what they're gonna do on offense. I'm afraid for them.
Yeah, I gotta go see him. I mean, half the games are. I think they just put two more guys like on IR or something.
Yeah, Puka and what's his name are done for like at least 4 weeks each.
Well, Puka and Cup, but then they just put them like a defensive lineman or a linebacker.
Both, yeah, they got like 5 or 6 on IR right now. They are not looking pretty. We got the Lions at the Cardinals. I think Lions win on the road.
Cardinals are playing awesome.
They are. It's kind of a scary game.
This is good. And after losing the Rams, I'm going to take the Lions, but I don't know. The Cardinals seem scared.
Kansas City at Falcons. Kansas City is going to keep their perfect season going against the Falcons.
Falcons upset.
Ooh, a Kansas City hater. All right, so one of our 2 primetime games, if you even consider it primetime because there's 2 on Monday, we got the Jags at the Bills. What do you think's going to go on here?
I think the Jags are just something's wrong with them right now. And you know what sucks is I like the coach over there. I don't know. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is good. I don't know why they give him I mean, they got a good receiver over there now. The running back's good. Something's missing. The defense was supposed to be good. They do play Buffalo well. I think last time they beat them last year or something.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like they played in the playoffs recently and the Bills ended up succeeding. I think that was 2 years ago, actually, not last year.
I think they play them well, but it's at Buffalo. Trevor Lawrence he doesn't look good. I'm gonna go Buffalo.
Yeah, I think I go Bills. Unfortunately, I'm a big Jags guy, but I don't know what is going on with the Jags. I mean, you'd think they're at least decent. Uh, I thought they'd be one of the better teams in their division. They're proving that wrong.
I
um,
mean, I was hoping.
yeah, I don't know if it's Trevor Lawrence. I literally don't. Bill, I mean, I didn't even expect the Bills to do well this season, and they're already 2-0. So, I mean, I'm taking Bills though. I mean, they're hot. And then our final game of the NFL slate, which is weird to see, but Washington is leading the division, and the Bengals are 0-2.
I am going with the Bengals because it's kind of a must win, and they did look a lot better against Kansas. They just messed up at the end. They probably should have won it.
Yeah, you're telling me. I thought they were gonna win that game. I think Bengals win this one too. Yeah, Bengals should not lose to Washington, but I mean anything can happen. I mean Bengals aren't amazing right now. I mean they're getting worse. Like I literally think this team just keeps getting worse for some reason, which I don't understand why. Um, Mike Gesicki being the leading receiver there concerns me about that O line. I do not know what's going on there, but I think they win.
You gotta get Higgins back.
Yeah. I mean that's true. But that is our slate there. That was a lot of football there. Any final thoughts on your Week 4 NFL or Week 3 NFL, Week 4 college football slate? Any final thoughts?
No, I think we keep maybe fantasy or not, but keep talent pros separate, do two different segments or something.
Yeah, no, I agree. I see myself in the future doing something different.
But I do say is that anybody that thinks a yellow light speed up, slow down. That's my food for thought.
Okay. Some wise words there, because I usually speed up at yellow lights. I mean, my final thoughts. I think this will be an interesting week. College football not as interesting as the NFL. I think there's a lot of bipolarness going on in the NFL, so it's going to be a fun one. I literally am doing terrible in fantasy. I I don't know what to do right now. The way I drafted, I picked tight ends that I felt were going to be very successful this season, and I think they get an average of 3 points a week right now. So my teams are relying on certain players that aren't also providing, like Olave and AJ Brown sitting on my bench. So this will be an interesting week for NFL. I'm excited to watch this week.
Well, I agree. There's players that are all the superstars that are showing up. You got guys who get hurt, injury early. You got more injuries than normal. Key players. You got McCaffrey sitting out with the number one pick. You got tight ends that are the top 3 tight ends are going to score points for you. You know, it's like, well, what's going on? The receiving cores are duds right now. There's only, the first 2 weeks, there's only been 5 300-yard passing quarterbacks. So it's like the numbers are just down right now.
Yeah, we got like Derek Carr leading the MVP candidate list right now, and
Look, waiver wire quarterback throwing more yards than the starting quarterback.
you got guys like Shaheed are leading like receiving yards, and yeah, the start of the season's been very interesting to say the least. However, I like my parlay I got. Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year, Jalen Milroe, Heisman right now. That's looking promising-ish. I'm not going to say promising because Jalen Milroe I don't think is in first at the moment. I think he might be like third. But I mean, Jaden Daniels is doing better than any other quarterback rookie. So, um, I mean, none of them are doing amazing by any means. But at least Jaden Daniels is getting touchdowns and not throwing picks.
He just had that. It was like 100. Was 165 or 160 something passing attempts, and not one quarterback has thrown a touchdown.
Yeah. Not a single touchdown thrown by any of these rookies so far.
So
Jaden Daniels has only gotten them on his feet. I think he got 2 in his first game, and that's it. I mean, Marvin Harrison might be the leading candidate for rookies right now. I mean, the guy went crazy. It's kind of funny that he just stopped getting targeted in the second half, though.
I think they did that on purpose. He didn't get nothing in the first game, so they wanted to make sure he got something.
Fair.
We'll see what happens against the Lions, because obviously they know the Lions, DBs, you know what I mean? That's where our weak spot was, right? You know, the Tampa just picked us apart a little bit, and back in. I just worry about that little sucker scrambling around in this.
Yeah.
The Lions are still missing a piece of that puzzle.
For some reason, our secondary, we got a ton of additions, and we still are struggling at that position.
We don't get to that quarterback. So even though we got Hutchinson, we still haven't got that other side taken care of.
Yeah, it's funny to think we sack a quarterback 5 times in a game, and we still can't get enough pressure in the front because it's literally only Aiden doing it.
Right there, yeah, that's the issue. There's nothing more coming out.
And it also doesn't help that Jared Goff has started this season off not good at all.
Don't go there, my man. You know where I go with that.
So,
Jared Goff,
that's fair. But yeah, I mean, I think that's everything on the agenda here. Unless you have anything else you want to throw out there.
No, we're good.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week at the Foatecast. We'll probably have a different selection. I think we'll stick the Foatecast with NFL only. So we'll figure it out. I'm still in the process of figuring out how I want to do these things. So, Mr. Lucky will be seeing you again soon here, and yeah, we'll be logging off here.